What makes Intelligence different?
I think what makes Intelligence different, especially around technology programs and digital transformations, is our consideration of change management and our experiences that we've had in it and our knowledge of how to make it happen. A lot of organisations who are in the technology sector don't take into consideration the change management. As I said at the beginning, I think if you just implement the technology, and in a way, all of these technologies that are out there, things like AI, cloud, LAN, WAN, everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing this technology. But just because you're good at implementing the technology doesn't mean that the program's been successful. So what makes us different is that we're able to actually deliver the results and use the technology strategically as an enabler to achieve the results, as opposed to being the best in AI, the best in cloud, the best in IoT. All of those technologies are great, but if the users don't adopt them and don't use them and fail to reap the benefits of it, then it's not really, achieving the success of the program in the first place. So that's the thing that I think makes Intelligence different, is because of the consideration of change management. And then all of these things around readiness assessments, which is important, and making sure that the business is ready for change. Many other organisations of our competitors that are pure technology businesses don't do readiness assessments. They don't consider it. Their assumption is the business is going to have the capability, the leadership, the processes, the knowledge and the skills to be able to successfully deliver it. And that's not always the case. So it's important to take that into stock and do something about it, not just at the beginning, all the way throughout. The understanding that when you're introducing any kind of technology, doesn't matter whether it's old or existing, what you're doing is you're introducing a change into the business. So you need to understand and measure what that change is and how it's going to impact users. Because if you fail to do that, then again, going back to the measure of success, users won't adopt the technology because they've not been incorporated in it. There is a big groundswell around agile. Everyone's banging on about agile as the sort of best way to do it. Now, agile isn't, for me, a methodology, or it isn't this is how you should be delivering technology projects. All agile is a set of values and principles. And there are some organisations out there who say, oh, it's all about agile. It's all about agile. Well, a lot of agile projects aren't successful because they haven't considered change. And a big problem with that is they go down the route of having these product owners. And product owners are supposed to be representative of the customer. They're the big representations of the customer. But they're not always the case. They may not be a full representation of the customer. I think what we would do different is, rather than just rely on a product owner, is actually walk in the customer's shoes. I don't think you can improve any kind of customer experience or make any change or deliver any benefit if you don't spend some time understanding from a customer perspective what the experience is like and then changing it and doing things about that. So that's another differentiator, I think, from our approach to digital transformation to many other organisations. So other reasons which differentiate us in terms of digital transformation is that we consider process improvements alongside technical improvements, because understanding that if you're going to bring in a new application, a new software, whether it's cloud-based or not, it's going to have an impact on the way people work and their processes. So that needs to be considered carefully as part of the digital transformation, which is often missed by other organisations. The communication side of it is massively important. I'm doing a big programme at the University of Sussex, which is having a massive disruption and impact on the whole campus, on staff and schools and people. So having that communication plan as part of our digital transformation offering is really, really important. Again, it will result in lack of adoption and just problems if you don't. So having that kind of communication plan and making the communication plan structured so it's not just communicating to people but consulting with them, and also when the program is completed, making sure that everyone's aware of the successes and the benefits that it's actually brought. You know, what was all that about? Well, this is what's happened, and these are the benefits, and this is what's going to make your life easier and more productive. Another differentiator with our approach and a consideration of change management especially is don't focus on too much change. You know, another reason why a lot of big digital transformations fail is because they try to take on far too much change. They're trying to do too much all at the same time. Start with quick wins, start with little small changes, and that will sort of tell the business that the project is winning. Prior to working at Intelligence, I did a lot of what's called observational work out in the field, walking in the customer's shoes. And I came across a guy called Paco Underhill. And I don't know if you heard of Paco Underhill.
No, I haven't actually, no.
Paco Underhill is probably one of the most famous people in the world for walking out in the customer's shoes and finding quick wins. And he's done a lot of work for big retail stores and helped them make millions and millions of pounds by making simple changes. So simple changes would be he would observe people for many, many, many days and work out that when you walk into a supermarket, the majority of people walk to the right.
Oh.
So if the majority of people walk to the right, why don't put the baskets to the right? Because if people get more baskets, they're going to buy more stuff when they're in there. The other thing you learn is by observing and walking in the customer's shoes. When you walk into a retail store, there's what's called a landing strip. So you'll slow down as you sort of come into the store. And that is you personally trying to capture everything where everything is. Oh. It's a natural thing that people do. Now, if you measure where that landing strip is, then you could use that as a sales opportunity, an upsales opportunity. Mm. So the other quick win he found was that people, you know, you're walking up and down these aisles, and they're not very helpful because a lot of retailers are just trying to pack everything into these aisles so they can sell as much as they can. But you can sell a lot more if, for instance, you had the signs facing outwards rather than inwards, because people don't walk on a sideways. Also, if you made the layout better so people could visibly see the whole store, once people capture more information about what's in the store, they can potentially buy more. And then the final one, which is another big example of a great quick win, is he worked out that between 70 and 80%, maybe even more, people would actually buy if they tried something on in the changing room.
Oh, really?
So what you want to do, if you're going to have a changing room, you want to make it as luxurious as possible. Yeah. Give them champagne.
Wow.
Put a mirror up. Make sure they do buy. Because if you just throw a load of stuff in there and don't help people when they're in there, you're losing a retail opportunity. So those are just examples of quick wins that I can think, that was specific in retail, but should be considered as every single part of digital transformation. And they don't have to be technological in any way. They just be simple changes where it doesn't need a financial business case, really simple, which is going to have an impact on revenue, profitability, or even just making customers and staff a bit more happy. So going back to, as an organisation, Intelligence, we predominantly have the two parts of the consultancy side of it. Technology, I call it technology consultancy because some of it's digital, some of it's older technology. It's all digital really, but so you've got the technology consultancy, and you've got the IT managed services provider, and there's two sort of main drivers and reasons why organisations come to Intelligence. One of them is this strategic reason where they've got a strategic challenge where they need to use modern technology to achieve some strategic improvement. Sometimes it's an opportunity, sometimes it's a problem they're facing. So, for instance, with Sussex, they were facing students not being very happy and with the technology, especially Wi-Fi, and this was having an impact on their national scores, and this is having an impact on league tables, this is having an impact on revenue. So there's this strategic driver that starts off with asking help from Intelligence. That this is another thing that makes us different around the consulting is because we're not using the technology to drive that. We're understanding what the client's strategic challenge is and trying to fix that. The technology comes secondary. many other businesses, they'll go, oh, you need cloud, you need this, you need that, but they haven't understood the problem in the first place. What we're trying to fix it. So that's where the consulting side of the business comes in, especially. The other side of the business is an operational driver. So it's maybe not a strategic, but is simply where the organisation doesn't always have the capacity, doesn't always have the capability to manage their IT operations. So, we're doing this for a client in London. I think previously we had one person who was managing their IT operations. So we're helping them with their service desk, we're helping them with their video conferencing facilities, we're helping them with cloud, we're helping with a broad range of technologies as a managed services operation. But another operational driver is for a solution we've called Stratium, an in-house data visualization and transformation tool, which a lot of our data scientists and data experts have built. And the reason why they come to us on that is, again, an operational challenge, because one of the big problems that a lot of our clients are, especially IT managers, is that they're assigned and their job is to improve the performance and the health of their IT infrastructure. And it's a real headache for most of them because they've got to log into so many different systems, and there's not one single view of what the problem is, and it takes them too long to understand how to fix it. So Stratium is a perfect solution to this operational problem which many IT managers face. So this, I think, is a key thing that differentiates Integence, because we have the consultancy that can help with the strategic challenges. We can have the IT managed services operation, which can help them manage their operations and stop having them worry about their IT. And then we have a product called Stratium, a data visualization and transformation tool that can take away this massive headache for most IT operations managers in terms of trying to manage and improve the performance of their IT. So there are not many other organisations similar size to Integence out in the market these days who have that same depth and breadth of service.
So what future trends do you see sort of coming through the next few years?
There are lots of new technologies coming out which are driving the future. AI is a big one. And as you know, AI, the great thing about AI, it can eliminate lots of manual tasks through automation. But I think from our perspective, it's not always one size fits all. AI could be a bad thing. It could be a bad thing because it could be taking away that human instincts. It could be taking away that human experience. Equally with cloud, and so you've got to put everything into the cloud. And we've worked with clients, tendering and other it's not one size fits all. Just by putting everything into cloud doesn't mean you're going to be more sustainable. All you're doing is shifting the problem to another place. Another server farm somewhere else that you're not paying for. So our approach will be more cloud. Yeah, it's a future trend. It's just like AI, but be pragmatic and consider it. And one size doesn't fit all. Equally with agile, our approach to delivering digital transformation is a pragmatic approach to agile and business change. Just throwing agile down. A lot of organizations we come across, the big problem they have with agile is the concept of having a minimum viable product. It doesn't sound very nice. Or what are you going to get at the end of your program? A minimum viable product. I want a maximum value product, So using agile, but combining it with business change, I think is another approach that that we at Instruments are trying to sort of adopt and offer our clients, not only because it's different to what others are doing, but we think it's the right thing to do.
Mm. Do you yourself think AI will be useful?
Yes, it will. It already is being useful. It's great in automation, and imagine going back to the headache problem that the IT operations manager has, trying to log in to all these systems. Imagine on top of that, he has AI that's proactively giving him solutions to the problems.
Yeah,
and that could free up his time to do other things. But I think it's in the sort of overuse of AI we've just got to be careful of. There still always needs to have that expert knowledge. I think that sort of human element, because there is a good thing where digital transformation is often forgotten. Digital transformation is not just technology. There are some local authorities I know we've been working with, and especially during COVID, my mum, she's 89. You can't just close everything off down on. So digital transformation is not just about technology. It's also actually giving people who aren't very good at technology the right services in the same way that someone like my son, who's 15, is very well equipped to use. So, and we're going to be living in an ageing population. So considering that as part of digital transformation, I think it's another pragmatic approach, and one that I think is different to how we think at Instruments.